Ta-da! We're back. Day 2 of this corner trim molding. Part, of course, was aluminum. We'll get this thing done and see how many hours we have in completely trimming out everything. Let's talk butyl tape, or booger tape, or whatever you want to call it. It's that gray gooey stuff you put in your corner trim moldings. I get mine off eBay. That's 1/8 inch by 3/4. You can get it in different sizes. On a 4x8, you are going to use 100 feet of it. Easy, depending on how many windows and doors you have. On a 5x8, you're going to use 130, 140 feet. Some people stick this right to the camper. Some people stick it to their trim. Being that we're going to have a couple cuts in this corner molding, I'm going to stick it probably mostly to the camper. Before I do that, I'm also going to run a bead of silicone. Keep in mind we did, before the skin went on, we brushed on spars urethane. I do the first coat thinned out 50-50 with mineral spirit so it penetrates into the wood. And then I let that dry. And then the second coat we brush on. We go about 2 or 3 inches up around every edge and down and across the bottom and around the door openings and window openings. That is not thin. The strength that it comes in the can. All right, let's get started on this. There you see the gray booger tape. On the door. A lot of that will squish out as it gets hot in the sun. Don't pull on it. Take a plastic credit card, just an old card, and just kind of slice it and peel it back. Don't pull on it. And you'll clean your camper walls and door trim up real easy without compromising the seal. If you grab it and pull on it, you're going to stretch it in a thinner spot right in through here or something, and you potentially have a leak there. A good tight fit there, ain't she? All right, guys, got a RV out exterior light. It's LED. I got the square ones for this, kind of match the square drop shape. You can get them round, oval, black, chrome, whatever you want. The neat thing about it is, if you're a camper or a serious camper, you know white lights tend to attract a lot of bugs. Amber, not so much. These guys come with your choice, so you can change them back and forth if you want. Hit the switch. These were $7.99 a piece on Amazon. I put this one back here because this is going to have a table here, and I kind of wanted the light cover the whole side of the camper. On the other side, I put it right above the door. That's typically not your camp side. This side usually is in the U.S. We're going to measure down. So we're going to put this baby 3.5 inches to the top. The lip will give us pretty level and decent height. That's our top. I'm just going to make a mark for 1 so I know where that screw is. You could make a template and do this quicker, I'm sure. There's our first hole. That'll give us a pilot to line this baby up. I'm going to trim them wires and get butt connected on there. Come on, baby, don't die yet. I use the ones with solder in them, guys. They also have heat shrink on them. Makes it kind of watertight. They're pretty cheap. And this will melt the solder. Just hang here and let it cool for a minute. Give her a tug test. You're good. What I'm aiming for is that tape is going to hit right on these screw holes. screws are, these are just 1¼ inch screws, I think. They don't even have to be that long, really. Just make them shorter than your wall so you don't have pokies on the inside. Throw the amber in there. Turn off and on switch. We're going to throw this one inside. Same as the other side. Save it for whoever. Oh, by the way, did I show you that? Look at that. Nice. Hey, gang. If y'all are into getting some truck bed coating on your trailer frames and fenders or whatever you build, Harbor Freight is changing companies, and they have these gallon cans of truck bed coating on clearance. If y'all are looking for a discount, Harbor Freight's rebranding theirs, and they're getting rid of this old stock. We're going to go ahead and paint these fenders here and get that taken care of and let it dry. Guys, you can roll this on or brush it or however you want. It's a textured finish. So I'm putting it on these kind of heavy. I'll put one coat on, let it tack up, and then put another coat on. Look at that, nice little texture finish. They do make spray guns to spray this on too. Let's get started on this corner molding. .45 this end right here, because this piece coming up here is going to have a .45 too. I want those two to match up, butt up perfectly with each other. And then this here, we have a angle here that we're going to have to match. So get our angle finder again. Turn it on. Zero it. Lock it in place. It's going to give us our finish bend. We just need to figure out how much of that has to come out to do it. And I will do it like this. We know that's the full angle that we need. Just shy of 30, so 29. So we're going to split that in half. And we're going to take half of it on here and make a V to each side of that center line. So half will be on this side of the V, half will be on this side of the V. 30, that's 15, roughly 14.5 degrees is what our V is going to be in there. When we bend that, that'll give us 30 degrees. All right, I don't know if the camera's gonna pick this up or not, but that's as much as we're taking out of that bad boy. Get your safety glasses on. Do as I say, not as I do. Don't as much out on your first cut. You can always cut it again if you need to. See, I was a little shy. I didn't take all that out. You can see my 2 marks are still there. I'm going to trim it just a little bit more and bring it down some more. You don't want to bend this 5 or 6 times, but bending it twice is. If you don't have a cutoff grinder with a 4.5 inch grinder with cutoff wheel, just use some tin snips. That is right on the money. Look at that. There you go. You'll be able to do this with trial and error. If you're nervous, just don't grind out as much your first grind. Just cut a little V and slowly widen your V as to what you need. There we go. It's okay if it springs up a little bit. Your screws are going to draw that down. One thing that does is make sure you're tight right here on your cut. Since we're a little shy, it'll bring these gaps together tight. See that? I'll put some butyl tape along there and get that piece locked in. One last thing before we lock this piece in. This is the back corner at the top. I'm going to cut a 45 off of that so that the piece running upward in this piece together. And there's your rear piece right there. Now this piece running up here will have a 45 too. Look at me, I'm cross-eyed. And they'll butt up nice to each other. Now when I'm laying this down, guys, I am laying the edge of the tape right up to my outside wall, but not past the outside wall. You don't want your tape interfering with the corner molding lip that touches this wall. You want it flush. You can always go back and lay a bead of clear caulk in there if you're worried about it. I never have had one leak or have a big gap there due to the fact that your butyl tape gets in the way. That's not what you want. Like I said, we applied it on the top surface up against the edge of this wall. It will swoosh out as it's tightened down, and it'll fill any gap it needs to as it gets tightened down and smooshed in. Especially when the sun hits this stuff, it stays pliable for years. It really. I put a little more on than I needed to as far as length goes. I don't want my butyl tape stopping where the trim stops. You want to try and make that one piece. If we did that right, that's what she's going to look like when she's all screwed in and drawn up tight, guys. Very nice, huh? I love putting the trim on. It just makes it look, I mean, totally different once that trim's on there. Let's see if we can get this thing to focus here. You can see exactly how tight we are. There's no space between those two lips. Sorry about the focus. You know how cameras are, guys. There we go. You can see she's right up tight against the skin. There's our tight radius. Like I said, you see that tiny gap there? As I bring this down with screws, it will disappear. It'll tighten right up. It won't be there anymore. All right, guys, we're gonna get this screwed in. This right here, spars urethane clear. That's all it is, wood treat. I dip my screws in it before I shove them down in the hole. You can get this trim pre-drilled. As I don't know if I covered the cost of this corner molding trim. They make it with different size lips here. 3/8, ½ inch, 5/8 even. Keep in mind it's harder to bend or harder to cut and curve the longer this side lip is. This 3/8 is measured on the inside edge here, that lip. It bends around a corner if you're doing a rounded top or a rounded corner or a teardrop. There's no need to cut it. It'll bend around even the sharpest corners. I've done it on an 8-inch radius before. A lot of guys on eBay will try and get you on shipping on this stuff. A stick like this runs between 12 and 16 bucks for 90 inches. They keep it under 8 foot for UPS regulations. Then they add 15 bucks for shipping. But if you contact the sellers like Furniture Lady 10 and a few of the other ones, they'll combine the shipping on up to 8 pieces. So I've got 4 of the corner moldings, and then I got 4 of the flat moldings. The flat molding is just without this lip. It just looks like this on both sides. All of them was 160 or 180 bucks for everything shipped here. So don't be scared when you see it 15 bucks per piece, because most sellers, if they're decent sellers, won't charge you like that. A few of the camper outlets, they gouge you, but a few of the independent sellers on eBay or Amazon, they work with you. Just message them first. We're going to put a piece across the back here. Most of the time, I try to minimize my screws in the top, and that would mean putting this way. And the reason I'm going to do that also is if water gets trapped up here, this is shallower lip than this for that water to wick its way over. It'll find its way down on the ends, sure, but at least this way there's not a hard hill for that water to climb. It's a very slight one. We're going to butyl tape across here, and then I will put a bead of caulk in there just to prevent any intrusion. As this is driving down the road in the rain, water, as you know, will force its way in places you don't want it. Then we're going to go ahead and 45 this piece, cut it there, V it there, make a bottom piece fit last. So it'll actually be 2 pieces down there as well. And that's just how it is on a reverse corner. 45 that angle. This angle, remember this was a 37-degree bend, so I just divided that in half and came up where we wanted it to be. And you can see it's really nice and clean and tight. That one's clean and tight. We will put some black caulk up in here. But yeah, look at the difference putting trim on this thing does. I mean, it is amazing how finished of a look it gives it. I'm gonna go ahead and get that drilled and screwed in. Put some trim on the bottom, guys. You can see how clean that looks around there. Doors in, lights on. I'm gonna run this on the bottom. Had I thought ahead, ordered some of this diamond plate in like a 2-inch piece, and actually glued and screwed that in there instead for a bottom trim piece. Would have just been for looks anyway, guys. We're gonna go ahead and get some butyl tape on this. I'm gonna go ahead and put some of that panel bond between the 2 surfaces here, between this metal and the frame. Give it a light push. Put this on to kind of hold it in place. Now that panel bond is a 2-part adhesive. You mix it in a caulk gun, but it's got 2 tubes that mix together, and it shrinks up as it dries. So it will actually draw that aluminum right to that framework and make a pretty solid seal, we hope. All right, got that bottom trim started on there. Now, before I put the wheel on, I'm going to go ahead and put this insert molding in here and put some goo on them screw holes. Guys, get this stuff warm before you try and squeeze it in here. Your fingers will thank you later. clean edge that finished trim gives it. And I still want to do a small piece right there. But for the most part, y'all can see how clean that looks, how good it looks on there. Put some insert molding in them. I don't know if I showed it, but there's the fender on this side. I left it a little high in case the buyer wants to put bigger tires on it. Those are 15-inch, 28-inch high, I think. Somewhere in there. You could go bigger if you wanted to raise it up to match your tow vehicle. It's up to you. There you go. There we see it. All trimmed in. I'm going to put the insert molding in it. Move on to the roof vent fan after we put that piece across there. Finish that little corner there. And mount this fender. I don't know if it's picking it up, but you can see the holes I drilled in that aluminum. If I didn't cover it on this build, I put nut zerts in from the back. Like I said, I was saying a minute ago, guys, before I put the camera up there so I didn't have to hold it. You can see my holes drilled here where the nut zerts are installed. Now when we built the wall, I don't think I covered it in this one, but I know if you go back a couple of my builds to one of the other red off-road campers, you'll see the nut zerts were installed before this became a sandwich wall. So that means this outer layer of wood was drilled out. The nut zerts were hammered in from the backside. A nut zert is just what it sounds like. It's a nut with little fingers on it that will grab the wood as you tap it in. What that does is gives you a threaded insert with kind of like a washer backing that as you draw your fenders in, it will secure it from the backside, gives you a little more strength in your fender mount. It's your choice how you do it, guys. Sorry I didn't show it in this video. It's in a previous one, check it out. We're gonna get this fender mounted on since this rubber insert is installed here, this insert molding, and then we're gonna get the tire back on it. Guys, since this is a budget build, I used an older axle. I did put new bearings and seals in it, and those are new leaf springs. Another thing I do, guys, I don't know if the camera can pick it up there, but after I mount my fender and before I put the tire back on, I scuff sand that aluminum skin back there and run a bead of caulk. You can kind of see there where the fender meets the wall and give it a coat of black paint in there just to help blend that fender and tire together. You can see how clean it looks. All right, guys, I think I'm going to end this one here. You all kind of get the hint on the quarter trim molding and the skin. Several of my videos have covered it. I just wanted to do a recap on this one. I'm going to go ahead and finish putting the roof vent fan in there and putting the tongue box on it, wiring up the solar. The only other video I'm probably going to do that will include this camper is I'm going to make a homemade roof rack for it. It's going to consist of cutting some plates out of 1/8-inch steel or 3/16 maybe, a couple bars going across, welding it together. Now, if you don't have a plasma cutter, you don't have a welder, you can still make your own roof rack. You do not have to spend hundreds of dollars. We're probably going to have about 20 bucks worth of metal in making this one. I'm going to, like I said, cut the plates out, screw them to this with some stainless screws, weld 2 bars going across, which is nothing but 1-inch tubing. If you don't have a welder, you can use actually threaded rod. This is a 4-foot wide camper. Get a 5-foot piece of threaded rod, 3/8 diameter. Make your plates, mount them, cut your bar stock, your round stock, drill your hole, run your threaded rod through the bar stock all the way out the other side, self-locking nuts of some kind, and that'll hold it all together. I am going to go ahead and weld it together because I do have a plasma cutter, a welder. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you're still with me this long, sorry my videos lately have been all over the place. We'll do better. I am going to do a vintage style 5x8 teardrop next. That shape, the teardrop shape, we will have corner molding bending. We won't have to cut too much of it. Don't know what color we're going to do yet. And I may do a teardrop camper up to donate or raffle off here shortly. So stay tuned, like and share if you can. Oh, by the way, look, I got a boo-boo.